Pharrell Williams is a multi-talented singer, producer, designer, entrepreneur. He's kind of the multi-hyphenate's multi-hyphenate.
The Peter Pan of pop. He is a super producer who, as a part of the Neptunes, had more to do to influence the sound of pop music at the turn of the millennium than maybe anybody else.
This is a guy that was working with Teddy Riley and Rex and Effects and doing Rump Shaker.
As recently as a couple of years ago, I actually heard people saying, like, boy, he has really fallen off. And needless to say, he came back in a huge way.
You can't really talk about Pharrell this year without talking about Pharrell last year. Pharrell had a 2013 that was not to be believed between his contributions to the Daft Punk record and singing Get Lucky, his writing and producing Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines, and then leading into Happy.
Pharrell made a huge buzz at the Grammys last year, not just for winning 4 times, but there was also that hat.
All of a sudden, it just became about his hat.
Oh, that hat, Pharrell's hat. It's fun to have a hat get its own Twitter account, 5 minutes after appearing on stage.
The unsung hero of the hat is really the track jacket, I think. That Adidas red track jacket he had. Pharrell is the guy who, no matter what he does, it just looks cool, and he can pull off pretty much anything.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Around that time, Happy, which had come out in 2013 for Despicable Me 2, was really reaching a crescendo. And he was nominated for an Oscar for that. And that song carried us really all year.
It's hard to overstate how big of a deal Happy was.
Happy was one of these songs that became a phenomenon that was bigger than just a hit.
He made this really creative video for it that you could spend hours watching. It was like watching, the channel with the burning logs, but way better and with way more cute girls in it. And little weird celebrity cameos that kind of felt like Easter eggs.
Most fascinating in some ways were the tribute videos that were made in Iran that were then shut down by the government.
As for what happened internationally, I don't think anybody saw that coming. What it speaks to more than anything is the real repressiveness of Iran's regime, where dancing is illegal. Dancing is illegal in Iran.
And ultimately, even that didn't play in Iran. Coming down that hard against the idea of being happy, I think, was something even the most oppressive government couldn't quite pull off. So they sort of, in a very rare move, apologized and let those folks go. But that gives you a sense of the kind of impact that this song had.
You miss me? I miss all of y'all. All y'all girls standing together like that. I can't take it.
When he released his first solo album, it was really a hip-hop album, and it was his attempt at kind of being the rapper that he had worked with. And I think he was disappointed with the way that came out. The album was a commercial disappointment.
Especially after the collaboration with Daft Punk, I think people started to notice that he does other stuff other than rap.
Come and Get It Bae was really a perfectly timed song that played off of one of the biggest slang terms of the year, which is bae, for before anyone else.
Just using the term bae, which had become like a term of the year. It really attracted people. And it's just such a funky song. In addition, the video kind of celebrated women of all types, women of different ages.
Bae now is so ingrained in what we're all saying, even though I'm not sure that all of us know exactly what it means.
Bae means like baby. It means your main squeeze your boo.
I think that in some ways what was most interesting was him positioning it as this kind of pro-feminist record.
My heart is filled with love and care, not an ounce of gas. I would get up there and simple.
Pharrell claims that the message of Girl is about feminism in a way. To me, it's very loosely a record about women.
I think it's a celebration of the woman.
It's time for the female species to no longer be repressed, oppressed, or suppressed, or repressed. It's masculinity has done a lot of damage to this planet. I think it's time to give women a shot, Because at the end of the day, like, if all women hold hands right now and say, you know what, we kind of don't like the way you guys are doing the planet, no more babies.
I think Pharrell intended for Girl to have an empowering message for women, but at the same time, the album is really about how much Pharrell loves women, which is not necessarily the same thing as valuing them independent of his romantic pursuits. Is it really empowering women, or is it empowering Pharrell and his love of women?
Pharrell's thing to me is that he is like, I am a lover of ladies. All colors, all shapes, all sizes, all hot ones.
Pharrell had a few setbacks, whether it be his new black essay or him wearing the Indian headdress on the cover of Elle.
Yeah, I think that the Native American headdress he apologized for, and I think that people kind of forgave him for that, and it kind of went underwater. I think he did kind of hit a nerve, at least among the black community, with some of his phrasings as far as talking about the new black and as far as kind of downplaying racism in some ways, sort of talking about how racism maybe doesn't matter as much. I think that frustrated a lot of people who kind of felt like, okay, like what world are you living in?
The fight with the Marvin Gaye estate over Blurred Lines. There was negative response even to the album cover for not showing enough dark-skinned girls on the album cover. I don't think there's anything that was sort of game-changing negative against him, but I do think there are sensitivities that he, presumably learned that 12 months ago weren't things he was thinking about.
I think Pharrell's brand at this point is pretty bulletproof, untouchable, and even though he's had a couple of hiccups this year, it seems like none of them have really been able to slow him down.